Chapter 27 of The Haunted Island by E.H. Visiak. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Ben Tucker. Chapter 27. Francis finds his brother's watch. Night had fallen this while, and the hollow in the thicket was black as pitch. I groped my way forth, and coming to the verge of the swamp, searched for and found my stick that I had set up there. Hereupon I stood and looked about me, dazed and trembling. The air was thick and fetid with the mist from the swamp. The heavens were overcast with black clouds. Two shadowy night birds flew continually in wavering and interlacing curves. A sort of rat-like creatures scuttled in and out of the woods. A loud screeching cry, having a strange vicious note in it, thrust in every now and again upon the continual croaking of frogs. It was borne in upon my mind, with terror, that this was the voice of the toad. From the back of me came the murmuring sound of the sea. Suddenly the moon appeared betwixt ragged clouds, casting a livid light upon the misty surface of the morass, and vanished. In the daytime, in the warmth and light of the sun, I cared little for the ghostly mysteries of the island. I said that the thing which had frighted us on the ship, the dreadful ghostly figure, had nothing spectral in it, but was contrived after some wondrous manner by Dr. Coppicus. But here at night, in this weird and desolate situation, my boldness proved to be but a daylight boldness. What, I asked myself, if the thing should arise before me here and now? What was that screeching cry? I took thought which way to go. It were a drear thing to cross the morass in the dark. What then? I must at all adventures act, and act quickly, or a panic terror would come upon me. But whilst I stood thus in doubt, the voice of the sea came to me, and turning that way, I thrust desperately in amongst the woods. They were dark and dank like a cavern. Unknown creatures started at my feet, uttering weird cries. They were full of bats which fluttered about my head, and something winged and heavy darted up from the undergrowth and tore and bit at my face. Perchance it was but a flying fox, but I screamed with fright. I tore the thing from me and dashed myself headlong through the thick covert. You may call me a craven, but on coming forth from that wood I sobbed like a terrified child. I proceeded, wading and staggering through tall reeds matted with creepers. 'Twas a desolate situation, and as I went staggering on through the reeds, I looked this way and that, fearful of beholding the face of some dreadful devil. It seemed to me that unearthly things did peer at me upon every side. I fought against the frenzy of my fear. Suddenly I caught the sound of a rustling in the tall grasses at the back of me. I drew my rapier, and stood looking back, hearkening intently, but could hear it no more. I strove to persuade myself that 'twas but an alarum of my fluttering heart, and continued on my way. But presently it came again, and louder, doubtful no longer, but a sure token that someone or something did follow me. At last, being able no longer to endure the suspense, I turned, and casting away my stick with my drawn sword in my hand, I began to move that way. I had not gone a dozen paces, but I beheld the form of an Indian who crouched in the reeds. He had a deadly blowpipe in his hand. I was ready to have fallen upon him with my rapier, but on a sudden, seeing, I suppose, the doctor's mark upon me, he turned and betook himself off, running swiftly, and so disappeared in the darkness. In the same moment I heard something fall amongst the reeds. Stepping to the place, I sought for it and found it. It was a gold watch, and on the back thereof was graven the arms of my house. I knew it to have been my brother's. Now, since it had been let slip by the Indian, he it was, in all probability, who had murdered my brother, the sense whereof stirred a lust of vengeance in me, supplanting my late terror, and I would have essayed to have followed that Indian. However, I soon perceived I would have been quite frustrate. Accordingly, I turned and prosecuted my way, reaching the cliff at last, and descending to the shore by way of a gully. End of chapter 27.